Pearl Harbor, the U.S. naval base near Honolulu, Hawaii, was attacked by the Japanese. This surprise attack by Japan on December 7, 1941, just before 8 a.m., was a devastating loss. Japanese fighter planes descended on the Pearl Harbor base, along with an underwater bombardment by submarines. This dual-wave bombardment lasted approximately an hour. The Japanese managed to damage and destroy 20 naval ships, with a whopping death toll of 2,400 Americans, including civilians, and 1,000 wounded from the attack. Fortunately, no vital weapons and ammunition stores were harmed, and America was able to make a quick recovery. This further led to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's request to Congress to declare war on Japan, which received approval the day right afterwards. With this, America entered the war on the side of the Allies to defeat the German and Axis forces.
Empowered by their recent invasion of Pearl Harbor, the confident Japanese Navy continued their campaign against the might of the United States of America. Japanese authorities were convinced that the American spirit was weakened and broken, but nothing could be further from the truth. After sessions of infighting and dispute amongst the Imperial Japanese Navy and Army, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto settled the decision for their next attack. And so, 6 months after the day which will live in infamy, Japan attacked the Midway Atoll. Little did the enemy know that American cryptographers had already discovered their plans. The Imperial fleet was met with fierce opposition and the beginning of their end. For every American ship sunk, 5 took its place. But for every Japanese ship sunk, the fleet grew smaller. The battle resulted in 307 American casualties and a staggering 3,057 Japanese casualties. The attackers were no match in both technology and supplies as tides began to turn in our favor.
After defeating Italy and Germany in the North African campaign, the United States and Great Britain, leading Allied powers, looked ahead to the invasion of occupied Europe and the final defeat of Germany. The Allies then decided to move next against Italy, hoping that this Allied invasion would remove that fascist regime from the war, secure the central Mediterranean, and divert German divisions from the northwest coast of France, where the Allies planned to attack in the near future. The Allies' Italian campaign began with the invasion of Sicily in July 1943. After 38 days of fighting, the U.S. and Great Britain successfully drove German and Italian troops from Sicily and prepared to assault the Italian mainland.
Meanwhile, in the Pacific, American forces slowly but surely brought themselves closer to the heart of the enemy. After their defeat at Midway, Japan was growing desperate. Running low on both manpower and munitions, the declining empire resorted to unconventional methods. Simultaneously, America struggled to bear the cost of each battle. To maintain resources, men, and to pass to victory, American forces focused on lesser defended islands. This strategy was known as island hopping. With the use of aircraft combined with submarines, the United States was able to cut Japanese supply lines to larger defenses and further cripple the Japanese war effort. In the end, the benefits outweighed the losses. Once the islands were captured, a direct invasion of the Japanese mainland could be planned, and the Pacific theater of the war was nearing its end in the Allies' favor.
On the fateful day of 1944, June 6, General Dwight Eisenhower launched the infamous Operation Overlord, also known as D-Day. 156,000 American, British, and Canadian forces landed on 5 beaches along a 50-mile stretch of the heavily fortified coast of France, Normandy region. Germans entrenched in dugouts and their bunkers at the ready. This was history's biggest amphibious battle. As forces approached the beaches, many were shot before they reached the shores, and many more forces perished on the beach. Soon, with the masses of soldiers, the Allied forces began to press down onto the Germans and repel them back, until the bunkers had been claimed to those of the Allied forces. This Allied victory proved vital for the tide of the war. Germany was now forced to fight on 2 fronts for the war, which in history is infamous. As Germans lost in World War I, it was due to the incapability of maintaining a true war front. This Allied victory was the beginning of the end of the war.